Hey, welcome to your channel, Generous, Gracious, and Gallant. I'm your host, Dr. Moharem Ghosh, and today I'm here with another story to inspire you all. Before we go on to the story, could I request that you hit the subscribe button so that every time I bring a new inspirational story, you are updated about the same. And for those of you who are already my subscribers, thank you from the bottom of my heart. Today, the story I'm going to share with you is about the first and only Param Vir Chakra of the Indian Air Force. That is Flying Officer Nirmal Jit Singh Sekhon, who won it in the 1971 war with Pakistan. Nirmal Jit Singh Sekhon was born on 17 July 1943 in Ludhiana, Punjab. His father had also retired as a honorary flight lieutenant from the Indian Air Force. From a very young age, young Sekhon was interested in being a pilot. He got commissioned into the Indian Air Force on 4th June 1967 as a pilot officer. He was posted with the 18th Squadron, which was flying the NAT aircrafts and was also referred to as the Flying Bullets. It was on 3rd December 1971 that Operation Genghis Khan was launched by Pakistan to ensure that they neutralize all the airports of the IAF and the fighter aircrafts of the IAF on the Western Front. This plan failed miserably and led to the 1971 war. Pakistan's main strategy was to attack the airports on the Western Front, such as Pathankot, Srinagar, and all these airports, to neutralize the Indian Air Force so that its army could concentrate on the Eastern Front in Bangladesh sector. When on 14 December 1971, Wing Commander Changezi of the 26th Squadron, Pakistan Air Force, took off from Peshawar. Along with him were 5 wingmen. All of them were flight lieutenants. They were Dotani, Andrabi, Flight Lieutenant Mir, Flight Lieutenant Salim Mirza Beg, and Flight Lieutenant Rusuf Zai. These 6 took off for a bombing run on Srinagar Airport. At that point of time, Flying Officer Nirmal Jit Singh Sekhon and his instructor Baldir Singh Gumnam were on standby 2. That means 2 fighter aircrafts ready for operational in 2 minutes. Both fighter aircrafts were on standby with both the pilots strapped inside the aircraft, ready to take off in 2 minutes' notice. The Pakistani Air Force sortie, led by Wing Commander Changezi, a war veteran of 1965, started bombing the Srinagar airport. Flight Lieutenant Guman took off immediately, and Sekhon was a bit delayed because of the dust raised by the first fighter jet of Guman taking off. Guman, once he took off, because of lack of radar support, tried to gain height and then come back and attack. But because the 18th Squadron pilots were not familiar with the terrain, got lost in the mountainous terrain, and he could not be of any assistance. The Pakistani Air Force, two F-88 fighter jets bombed the Srinagar airport, just missing Flying Officer Nirmal Jit Singh Sekhon's NAT aircraft. Despite that, and the high danger and risk to his aircraft and himself, Flying Officer Nirmal Jit Singh Sekhon took off. And once he took off, immediately he spotted the two F-88 fighter jets which had bombed the airport in front of him. He shot down the first one, and the second one he again shot, but it sustained damage and was seen flying back towards Rajouri. Now there were four fighter aircrafts of the enemy F-88 fighter jets left against the single NAT of Flying Officer Nirmal Jit Singh Sekhon. Despite the tremendous odds against him, and knowing for certain that he is going to his death against such unsurmountable odds, Sekhon continued to circle and try to target all the four other enemy aircrafts. One more aircraft, an F-88, ran out of bullets while trying to shoot down Sekhon. Now it was three fighter aircrafts against Sekhon. Flying with utmost skill, Sekhon continued to harass the other three fighter aircrafts. But gradually the weight of the unsurmountable odds, Sekhon was shot down by Flight Lieutenant Salim Mirza Beg. Sekhon tried to fly back to base, but a few kilometers from the base, near Srinagar, the road which leads to Srinagar Airport, his fighter aircraft crashed. Sekhon tried to eject but could not because his hydraulics was totally jammed. He flew straight for some time, then he went into an inverted flight, and in the inverted flight, because of a lot of total flight control, he crashed into the mountainside. You will be amazed to know about a coincidence that his fighter aircraft was found near the same spot where in November of the same year Major Somnath Sharma had sacrificed his life in defense of the country land, and he too had won a Param Vir Chakra. Two brave soldiers, one from the IAF and one from the Indian Air Force, coincidentally, by fate, being killed at almost the same spot in Srinagar, and both winning their Param Vir Chakras. If you want to hear the story of also Major Somnath Sharma, I have posted his video in our channel. Please see the video. You will be truly inspired. The IAF tried to recover Sekhon's body, but it was never recovered. Flying Officer Nirmal Jit Singh Sekhon was truly a gentle giant at 6'4", and he called everyone brother, and that became his nickname, Brother. All his co-officers used to call him Brother. Sekhon's bravery, flying skills, dogged determination, right, and courage, despite knowing that he is going to his certain death, live up to the best traditions of the Indian Air Force. His last words, as were heard, was, "I think I am shot. G-Man, come, get them." G-Man, he was referring to Flight Lieutenant Baldir Singh Guman, who was his flight leader on that sortie. Later, after the war ended, Flying Officer Nirmal Jit Singh Sekhon was much praised by the Pakistani pilot who shot him down, Flight Lieutenant Salim Mirza Beg, and also the leader of that sortie, Wing Commander Changezi. Both referred to the skill and courage of Flying Officer Nirmal Jit Singh Sekhon and said that a single pilot, his skill was so much that it took 6 of them to bring him down. He single-handedly took on 6 enemy aircrafts despite knowing that he could not overcome the odds. Flight Lieutenant Nirmal Jit Singh Sekhon will always be remembered for his supreme sacrifice, courage against all odds, and his skills as a fighter pilot. To date, he remains the only IAF officer to be decorated with the Param Vir Chakra. It was in 1972 that his Param Vir Chakra was handed over to his father on 26 January 1972. It is with the last breath that the Indian flag still flies high in the skies. It is the last breath of warriors, courageous men, women who put down their lives, make the supreme sacrifice for our country. They give their today for our tomorrow. Our flag flies high and we are independent because of such men. Remember them, respect them. Friends, till we meet with another story, inspirational story on this channel. Good luck, all the best. Spare a moment to remember the brave. Thank you.